Who wants to snark on the UK government today? I know I do. Okay, if there's one thing about me, I am a UK politics nerd, and any opportunity I get to snark on the UK government and call them out for their bullshit, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna jump at that opportunity with both feet, okay? And I woke up today and I was scrolling through my YouTube studio, as I do, having a look at my analytics, replying to some comments, like I always do. But a little notification popped up at the bottom of my YouTube studio on my phone today, that was basically from YouTube saying, hey, because you're a UK content creator, there's some changes that are being proposed by the government, and we think that's going to really negatively impact YouTube and your channel specifically. So, and like just in general, UK content creators. So they were like, we think you should put your input into this, okay? And I was like, oh, sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up. So I clicked on it. And again, one thing about me, I'm a UK politics nerd. And to be honest, what we're going to talk about today has been happening for a couple of years, and those of us who've been in kind of the political space at all have kind of predicted that this is probably going to happen. And now we're at that point where it is happening, and I really wanted to make this video because this is something that more UK content creators should be talking about, and I want to be the first one to point it out, okay? Because this could have some detrimental effects to content creation as a whole in the UK, and just to free speech as a whole, okay? Well, not only free speech, just again, like, small content creators getting their content out there. We're going to cover it all. I'm just going to increase the brightness of my camera just a little bit because I'm looking a little dark. Okay. Is that better? I don't know. Okay. Anyway. So, what we're going to be talking about today is something that aligns with, and this will be interesting for those of us who aren't in the UK, for those of you who are watching this from the US, maybe. This is just a little bit of a history lesson over the past few years in UK politics when it's come to regulating media, okay? And just the TV space and legacy media and how that relates to content creators, okay? So, when we left the EU, casting our minds back to Brexit, okay? One thing that the government put in at that time was something called the online safety bill. The online safety bill, it didn't really matter. It didn't seem like that big of a deal at the time, but that was just the starting point, because the online safety bill was meant to be like protecting kids from harmful content on YouTube, on the internet, blah blah blah, all the regular stuff, right? But like I say, that was the starting point to where we are now. Because ever since COVID and ever since all that time, the legacy media, so when I say legacy media, I mean like the big channels and like the big corporations on TV, namely like the BBC being the big one, but pretty much like any big thing like Channel 4, ITV, Sky, all these big all these big corporations, right, that run in the UK, have been increasingly called out for their claim to be impartial, and yet been very much exposed quite a few times for getting stuff wrong, for fake news, and you can look this up. But we have a regulatory board in the UK called Ofcom, and Ofcom basically makes sure that everybody's like towing a line, that they're reporting the real news, all this kind of stuff, and people can complain to Ofcom about certain things, like the BBC get a lot of Ofcom complaints whenever a Doctor Who episode comes out, and this has been a thing for a while. Being a Doctor Who fan, and we used to get a TV magazine in the UK called the Radio Times, which often used to publish how many Ofcom complaints things used to get. And if they get enough complaints about a specific thing, Ofcom can go to that corporation and be like, we don't like this, we've had people complain about this, so we think you should take this down, we think you should apologise or whatever for this thing. And which all seems fine and dandy, alright? Like, okay, it tries to keep everybody in line. Where that goes wrong is when we have these lovely things called financial backers, or basically plants within these corporations that have a certain agenda with certain governments. Now, obviously, if you've been keeping up with UK politics even just a little bit, you know this country is absolutely fucked. In terms of leadership, we don't know what we're doing. It's a whole mess. A lot of shit's going down, and there's nobody we can really trust. And hey, that's kind of the case a lot across a lot of countries in terms of leadership, but specifically in the UK, the government are so desperate to control media narratives to try and save their ass. That's the whole that's the whole thing. And unfortunately with Ofcom, that has become the case. They've been tipped off by the last government. I say the last government, like the current government. I would say the last because obviously we're switching leaders at the moment. Again, if you know, you know. It's a whole mess. But basically, they've been tipped off to essentially spin and try and push what they want to be pushed, okay? And because of that, and because people are not stupid, and regardless of what side you're on, you know, everyone's seen problems with this, and we've started to call it out. And this is where YouTube and kind of online platforms have come in very clutch, okay? Because what they've done is they've essentially some people have started making content calling these people out, or just making like societal comments or any kind of commentary on society or government choices or whatever, and that didn't necessarily fit with the message that the government wanted to push. Okay, this is what's been happening. YouTube, I will say, and I think this is because YouTube is a American company, so you know, in America, with you guys have the Constitution that protects freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and you know, tries to stop governments having this much control over what their citizens are saying. We don't quite have the same thing in the UK. We do have a Constitution, but it's not really the same thing. We don't really have the same protections, and this is where we've kind of come up to some problems. And again, this doesn't matter what side of any kind of political spectrum you're on, like all sides have had problems with this, which is why I thought that, you know, it's partly why I wanted to make this point in this video. And but because of that, YouTube, when they've seen these kind of things happening, will team up with certain channels, or will just put out statements to be like, hey, we'll just show support for people being persecuted and kind of against these rules. And I think this is partially why they're calling out what we're going to talk about in a minute. This is just kind of the context of what's happening. I think it was last year, or whether it was 2024, the government did what we saw as the next step in terms of kind of from the online safety bill to then amping up the control. The beauty of online creation was the fact that it was unregulated, so people weren't getting silenced. You know, freedom of speech was very much free on YouTube, and again, like, they've done a great job of what they can do to protect that and keep it going and create it like a very authentic platform for everybody, right? But in 2024, I think it was 2024, it was last year, the government went, you know what we'll do? We will get Ofcom to regulate YouTube. So that's been the case. They were given a list of channels to regulate. That list has now grown significantly. And they were told, hey, keep an eye on these people. If they don't toe the line, call them out, and we could potentially get them demonetized or have their channels deleted. This was, again, if you're not aware of what's been happening, this is why I wanted to educate you as to why we are where we are now. And when I read this notification and read through what I'm about to show you this morning, I was like, okay, so this is the next step. Because people aren't stupid. Again, people aren't stupid. They saw what was happening and they weren't happy with it. And they've gone, hey, this isn't right. And we don't want this. We want to just be able to be free. Like a good free society, right? But the issue with that is legacy media has not been doing very well in the UK. Okay, people have been seeing what's been happening and seeing the kind of agendas that are being pushed, and they don't like it. They don't like it because they don't like the government. If you ask any British person, again, regardless of what side they're on at the moment, they don't like the government. That's one thing that we can all agree on at the moment, is we do not like the government. The government are screwing everybody over, regardless of who you are, and it's not good. It's not good, okay? So again, this is where some people, again, have been able to unite on this issue. And again, because of that, the legacy media has not been doing very well, and they've been trying to scramble for some way to try and save that legacy media, again, because it benefits them. And there's a lot of people who are linked to the Labour Party, who are the current party in power at the moment, who are behind the scenes at a lot of these legacy media channels. And yeah, it's not just Labour, like, regardless of like what channel you're on, you know, you're gonna get financial backers. It just depends what the bias is, right? You're gonna get people like who infiltrate, who are, you know, it's a web, okay, which obviously isn't good. And that's where YouTube and online platforms like this are very, very good and very, very important, that we promote these people. Now, this is the article that you go to when you click that notification, okay? And one thing I will say is take this video and share it to all of your favorite creators, especially if only if they're really in the UK, because otherwise it doesn't really matter. But hey, if you're a US content creator and you want to talk about this as well, go ahead. But because again, more content creators need to be talking about this, especially in the commentary space, because regardless of whether you're political commentary or not, this could affect us, okay? Because this isn't just about political commentary anymore. This is YouTube as a whole. The platform could change if something isn't done about this. So I'm just going to expand this screen a little bit so you can actually read. So, well, actually, I don't know if that's a good idea, right? Because I'm going to read this out to you, so just read what you can from this. But anyway, so it says, keep YouTube yours, your channel, your say. YouTube is yours because you built it. View by view, subscriber by subscriber, on the merit of your ideas and your connection with your audience. However, proposed new rules could fundamentally change how your content is discovered, recommended, and viewed in the UK. The UK government is running a public consultation called Watch This Space, a new strategic direction for UK media. The proposals include mandatory changes to how content is discovered on YouTube, which could direct audiences away from your channel. As a UK creator, this directly impacts your future. Content discovery works best when driven by user choice, not legal requirements. This is a vital window for you to share your perspective before the consultation closes on the 31st of August 2026. Very important date there. So what are they proposing? The proposed new rules include a mandatory prominence regime. This could require platforms like YouTube to prioritize and give a privileged position to traditional broadcasters like BBC, ITV and Channel 4 in user interfaces and recommendation feeds, potentially pushing your content out of sight. Now, I just want to pause there for a second, because this is something that a few years ago, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but I don't know who was talking about this at the time. I think it was another content creator that I watched, but this was a few years ago. There was a rise in clips from news, specifically from like talk shows and stuff, in the YouTube feed, and people were calling that out because they were like, this isn't why we come to YouTube. Like, if we wanted this kind of stuff, we would watch TV. Like, this isn't what we want. We want like genuine content creators. And this is the next step in this, as I say. Like, I think at that time there was some talk around like, well, is YouTube getting like financial backing from these people to boost that content? Like, what? I don't actually remember. I don't want to speculate too much because, again, this was a few years ago and I can't remember how it was resolved. But it's just interesting now that the UK government, because again, they're scared that legacy media is going to die off to the point where they can't feed it with their propaganda, essentially. that they want to silence and push down just genuine ordinary people trying to pursue a hobby by promoting specifically legacy media in the UK. As I say, it is scary, but we are going to get into this in more detail. So that's the definition of what's happening. Mandating prominence to traditional institutions will impact all other independent creators, production companies, and media, including through your content downranked. Pushing the script forwards means pushing everyone else downward. Mandatory prioritization of broadcasters would affect how your content reaches your audience, regardless of what your content, what your audience actually wants to see. Reducing user exposure to diverse content and independent creators. Mandating prominence for established media networks would push the UK's diverse mix of independent journalists, educators, and everyone else down the line. Threat to reach and potential growth. Your ability to organically grow your community, generate views and revenue, and build a sustainable business is compromised if your content is hard to be discovered. And, again, we've had issues over, for small content creators, it has been a bit of a battle with the algorithm over the past few years. A lot of YouTube is luck. As I've said in previous videos, I've been on YouTube for 13 years. You wouldn't know it from my subscriber count. I've only just been gaining subscribers over the last few months because I've been so lucky as to find a niche that actually works and and a format that I can actually create more effectively and more frequently, so that I'm pushing more content into the algorithm. And I've been so lucky to gain the attention of Adam McIntyre, who I've admired for a long time, and because he was so gracious to share my content and people from his audience came over to mine, it was, to be fair, it was a bit of a strategy that I, implemented but again, it was lucky. He didn't have to share my content. He didn't have to see it. It just so happened that he did. And I'm very grateful that he did, because now I've actually starting to get to the place that I've always wanted to be since I was 12 years old, and I'm now 25. You know what I mean? So for this to, if this is implemented, especially again for UK content creators, this could be detrimental to a lot of small creators or people who are just starting out, because YouTube already as a platform is so much more oversaturated than it was when I first started. And even then, it was quite a popular platform. It's not like I really started right at the beginning. You know what I mean? But it's just a thing where, it would fuck up the algorithm so much that it would just make things so much more difficult than they already arguably are. But I'm glad that YouTube, again, is standing up for this and saying, hey, we don't want this for you. We want you to be able to create content and be able to organically grow your audience, because that's essentially what makes them money as well. But, that's the point of the platform. So, again, hats off to YouTube for actually calling this out and saying, hey, we don't want this. We don't want this for you. This is bad. We think you should speak up about this. And then the last point here is undermining the creator-audience bond. The consultation repeatedly emphasises trust in the context of legacy broadcasters. Yeah, so I did try to read the green paper. If you guys have ever tried to read a political kind of either white paper or green paper that they share publicly, it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot of words. It's a lot of jargon, and to be fair, my brain was frying. But this is something I did point out, because again, this is their agenda. This is their narrative, to be hey, TV is very trusted. We have a long established trust in TV and legacy media. And it's you think there is? Stop gaslighting the British public, because again, over the past few years, a lot of people on all sides have been calling out how legacy media is just not what it was and is not fit for purpose. Essentially, there is a lot of corruption and a lot wrong with it, and they claim to fact check and they don't. It's all just it's a mess. It's a mess. And again, this is all on the basis of we're impartial, we're totally telling you guys the truth, and yet if you actually look into it, that is not the case at all. And again, there's a lot of money from big from the establishment going into these things to feed narratives, and it is not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but trust me, This is actually what's been happening over the past few years. And if it wasn't for people rising up and calling this out, this shit would not be happening. Okay, it started out again like with the online safety bill, with people saying like, we just want to protect the kids, to this shit, to we want to change platforms like YouTube to promote these established, like, and they're trying to frame it as like, this is just a transition to the new digital age, because we understand that a lot of people don't watch normal TV anymore. A lot of people just watch it on streaming platforms. And this is another thing as well. In the UK, the BBC specifically, and this is an emphasis to those who don't know as well, if you do not watch the BBC, you do not have to pay your TV license, regardless of what they tell you. Do not pay your TV license unless you watch the BBC. I remember when I was at uni, and because we used to get TV license letters through the door, even though, like, we didn't really have, like, a TV in my halls of residence, and it wasn't a thing. But we used to get them through the door, and, you know, just ignore them, because even in those letters, it was like, if you watch YouTube, if you watch streaming platforms like Netflix and YouTube, you have to pay your TV license. And it's like, well, that's a lie. That's a straight up lie. The only thing that your TV license, your taxpayers' money that goes into your TV license goes straight to the BBC and nowhere else, okay? If it's telling you anything else, they are lying. They are lying to you. But this has been another problem, is because, again, the BBC is the worst out of all of them. I will not lie, for just being lying pieces of shit, quite frankly, and just being the most corrupt out of all of them. And unfortunately, that's meant that a lot of people just aren't paying their TV license anymore, because they're finding a lot better content to watch and the people they trust more on YouTube. And they don't want to watch the BBC because they don't like it and they don't trust it anymore, despite the government being like, we know that you trust legacy media. And it's like, no, we don't. We might have done 30, 40, 50 years ago. Not anymore. Not anymore. Not in the last few years especially. So again, this is another case of the government trying to gaslight the British public into thinking that we're stupid and they know better than us, when in reality, not the case. And YouTube knows that. YouTube knows that, and they have come out again like this, obviously, to create this article to be like, hey, we know what's going on, and we don't think that this is good for you, so we think that you should speak out about this. And again, I commend YouTube for that, because if there's one thing, you know, we can debate all day long whether the YouTube actually cares about their creators or not, but in this case, they actually do. They actually do, because this is crazy. Because, hey, like, if they wanted it kind of just for the money aspect as well, like, I'm pretty sure they would have to pay YouTube certain amounts of money to be able to house a lot of this stuff on YouTube. There's always money involved, isn't there? But they clearly don't want to do that. They don't want that. So again, props to YouTube for actually coming out and saying this. So yeah, you know, it emphasizes trust in context of legacy broadcasters, implying that the you know, our voices are less credible, damaging the fundamental trust that sustains the creator economy. YouTube, that is a mic drop moment. That is a mic drop moment, because exactly, and I'm so happy and glad that they're calling this out. Again, it's not often that I'm like, well done YouTube, but in this case, hell yeah. So it's saying, now this is the part where I want you guys to share this video with your favorite creators, because this is where we can all have an impact. If you're a UK content creator, this is what you do. So the UK government is seeking feedback for those affected by this upcoming legislation, and to help determine how online content should be regulated. Help protect the level playing field that you and all your independent creators rely on by responding today. So, if you go onto this webpage, there are a couple of things. If you want to read the full green paper, there it is, okay? The guy who proposed it, his picture's at the top there, throw a tomato, do what you want. And then what we actually need to do is this. The UK official government response form is here, and that's where you submit your feedback. So just to cover the useful information that they've plucked out from the green paper, because we don't want to read it all. But if you do want to read it all, it is there. They have provided the full disclosure. So, useful information to share. This is what you should put in your feedback thing. Give insights on how the recommendations on like the YouTube homepage and stuff help you find, connect, and build your audiences. And how being recommended less could disadvantage your channel. Again, for small channels, this would be detrimental, so really get that in there. Share your thoughts on how such changes could disrupt the discovery of your work and audiences experience. Tell your story. You work hard to build your channel in the ecosystem where success is determined by content quality and audience preferences, not the mandates of the regulatory boards like Ofcom and stuff like that, and then the government, essentially, because Ofcom's in the government's back pocket. Sections relevant to you. So this is, if you wanted to go and read the green paper, these are the sections to jump to. If you're a news creator, so there are some people on YouTube who are news creators, who are like independent journalists, that kind of thing, which YouTube has been very good at protecting because they are the channels that this kind of stuff affected first. Again, when Ofcom was allowed to regulate a certain list of channels on YouTube, this is where this started. But if you're any other kind of content creator, this is the kind of stuff to do. So this chapter 4.1 explores introducing state-mandated prominence for UK public service broadcasting content above all other content, and asking if this should apply to general entertainment, comedy, drama, and sports. Yeah, so this isn't just like news clips, right? This is like other stuff. So like BBC dramas. I'm saying like the BBC, but like any TV program that posts just any kind of show, again, like whether it's sports, whether it's like a drama series, comedy, anything like that. And the whole point of this, again, is to try and get people to then go and watch said shows on whatever streaming platform that TV channel has, right? And then essentially to try and get people to start paying their TV license. That's what this is. This is like the scrape of the barrel. They've had the BBC knocking on their doors going, hey, we are very desperate at this point because people are leaving us. We need you to come up with something. And they've gone, hold my beer, hold my gin and tonic, please, that I paid so much for in the Parliament Cafe. But like, this is what this is. And again, if you've been a politics nerd, if you've been just informed on UK politics for a while, you know that this has been happening. This has been in the works for years. This is like the final boss, because again, the BBC have been trying to scramble for ways to try and get their TV license as it's been dropping. And they tried to increase the TV license, but then less people started paying it, obviously, because it's the cost of living crisis. Nobody wants to pay more for the BBC. So again, this is what they've tried to do to try and encourage people. And also, they could probably argue that if you're watching a BBC clip or program on YouTube, then you would have to still pay your TV license. They're trying to trap people into paying them money. Again, to these corporations that are in the government's back pocket, and also they think that this whole thing with the government, the government just thinks the general public are stupid. Like, that's been a narrative for a long time now, especially in the last few years. Oh my god, they just think that the UK government, that the UK people are stupid as hell. That we don't see what's going on, and that we're just gonna suck it and see, just gonna swallow the pill and not care. And again, just let it go untouched. And YouTube's gone, hey, this is a problem. Hey, that this is actually a pretty bad thing. We need you to, if you care about content, if you care about independent content creators, journalists, anything, if you care about YouTube as a platform, you need to be talking out about this. You need to be inputting into this feedback. And again, I will put the link to this in the description of this video as well, so you guys can go and share this. Again, like flood your social medias with tagging your favorite, UK creators, especially if they're in the commentary space. Again, doesn't have to be political. Like, if they're in the commentary space, this is something that we really need to get out here. But again, if you're just a content creator in general, this is going to affect you. So the next one, the next bullet point, just for general content creators, is question 24. Specifically asks you how proposed interventions might disrupt your business model. Because again, not all, like some of us, a lot of us do earn money off this. For a lot of us, this is either like our part-time job or full-time job. I currently have 3 jobs, including this. technically, but you know, for some of us, this is our whole lives, whole livelihood, whole lifestyle, right? So this could seriously disrupt people's income and people's living. And again, and then I'm just gonna read this next one. If you are a news creator, if you are just on the off chance, chapter 2.2 proposes the mandate of prioritization of UK public service broadcasting news content and government or regulated, defined, trusted news providers. That is a huge red flag, because again, if you've been listening to what I've been saying, that is a huge red flag right there. And again, this is the final boss. This is where we're at. Again, I don't normally talk about this kind of stuff on my channel because, you know, I tend to get the politics side away from it, because this is just meant to be a light-hearted, fun time. However, this just jumped out at me, and I was like, okay, this goes beyond that. Like, I have to talk about this. So, yeah, and of course, like, when it comes to the algorithm and, like, the recommendations of it all as well, like, the YouTube homepage has changed so much over the years. Like, I remember a few years ago, and this was a few years ago, like, this was a few years ago now. Like, I mean, to be fair, it is something that people still talk about to this day. It's been an issue. Is some people's content doesn't show up in the subscription boxes. Do you guys remember when, like, the subscription box was, like, a specific thing? It wasn't some vague thing. Like, do you guys remember this? Because people have had issues where, like, again, their content just doesn't show up in the recommended feeds, and, like, people that's when, like, when they introduced the notification bell, like, 10 years ago now, and people are having a lot of issues with that, because they weren't getting notifications, or things weren't showing up in on their subscription boxes, so they were missing content, YouTubers weren't getting views, money, you know, all that stuff. And since then, like, the homepage just in general has got incredibly complicated. Like, let's just open YouTube real quick. Like, okay, so hang on, let's do it. Oh, let's hang on a minute. Okay, so this is what my current, if I just open, like, the YouTube homepage, this is what I'm met with. So we have all these categories up here, all these categories based on stuff that I've been watching or trying to search or whatever. This homepage is a mess. I'm sorry, this homepage is a mess. All right, the homepage, what it used to be, was your subscribers at the top. At least, this is my proposed for how the homepage should work. Okay, top line that you scroll through is your subscribers, your subscriptions, and their newest videos. Okay, starting with the ones you watch the most, and then obviously just going through them. Right, that's fine. The next page down should probably be something like your recommendations based on what you watch. Okay, again, line that you scroll through. And then maybe a third one that's like top videos in whatever category that you watch, right? Not this shit, alright? Because this shit is so bad. I've got like a Rich Lux video here, which, okay, I am subscribed to him, but been watching him for years, fair enough. We've got an Avril Lavigne video here, because I was watching a lot of her music videos and listening to a lot of her music recently. I've begun down a bit of an Avril rabbit hole. And her music is very underrated, I will not lie. Like, I feel like people like to snark on her quite a lot, but she is absolutely amazing. So we've got an Avril Lavigne video there. Okay, we've got over here, we have a Minecraft Jurassic World DLC video, because I was searching up some Minecraft adventure maps and stuff, so I think that's why that was there. But again, this is all based on stuff I've been searching, not really, like, you're subscribed to, apart from, like, Rich Lux, I guess, who's, like, only just uploaded that video. We have my Froggy Stuff video. I mentioned in a previous video that, like, when I first started YouTube ever, like, I was a doll channel. Like, did anybody else used to watch this channel with, like, the DIY, like, for dolls stuff? That channel's so wholesome still to this day. Like, they're still going quite strong, and I love it. We have this random girl who went to Manchester. Oh, she's a dancer that I used to watch, actually. I realise what that is now. Okay. Is she with Zara Larson now? Is that what that is? I don't know. Okay. And then we have a Hogwarts Legacy for PS5 4K playthrough, like whatever. We've got a bunch of shorts. Okay. I low-key hate YouTube shorts. Anyone else? I don't know what to say to you. Hey, Gavin. There's a Gavin one, like, right there that you don't think you can see. No, you can't because he's chopped off the end, but Gavin's there. We have another one that's like a Jurassic Park horror game. That actually looks kind of cool. Maybe I will check that video out. But then we've got a Evangelina video about Joshua David Evans. Okay, I subscribe to her. I watch her videos all the time. But again, this is such a fucking mess. This is such a mess. Such a mess. And it goes on forever as well. It goes on forever. Like, do you see this? And if I scroll down, it keeps refreshing. Look. And it's random stuff. It's random stuff. Why my family cancelled me and it's some, like, fairy girl in the woods. Okay, fun. But, like, it goes on forever. And again, it is random crap. It is random crap that, I mean, yeah, maybe vaguely based on stuff that I've searched, or maybe, like, but it's very random. Like, I've got a fucking James Charles video here, 5-minute craft. Like, I don't watch James Charles. Get him off my For You page. There's a Bailey Sarian video from 6 months ago. Girl, we need you back on the internet, please. Like, we have so many random things. Also, love a bit of Jacksepticeye, I do have to say. Sean, we love you. But this is what I mean, and this goes on forever. It has no real, like, it's a mix of people I kind of subscribe to, and, like, old videos from people I subscribe to, and then just random crap. Random crap, The Secrets of the Beauty World. We will probably do a deep dive into that series eventually. It will just take me a while. But I'm actually really looking forward to going into this series when he was doing the palette. Because, again, as I mentioned, I still have my palette. And I'm never getting rid of that shit. That is a museum piece that will stay in my life forever. So many Avril Lavigne videos. But this is what I mean. Like, it's random crap. It is random crap. It is just, and it goes on forever. But, like, again, my point being that if this goes through, it will be legacy media for a lot of us, because they will have to prioritise that over everything else for every UK citizen. For every UK citizen who watches YouTube, that will be what it's like. And I don't want that. And YouTube don't want that. But the people who do want that is the government. It's the government who doesn't want people watching, like, just ordinary people. They want the people that they paid to talk about the things that they want them to talk about. And they want to get rid of just people's independent free speech. They want to ruin that for us. They want to ruin this space that has been cultivated for us for many, many years by us and by the people who watch these videos. In the UK, we have a serious threat going on. And again, I want everybody who's a UK viewer, or regardless, if you're somebody in the US who watches somebody in the UK who you want to know about that this is happening, share this video. Spam people with this video. Again, I will leave the link to the article in the description, so you can go and all the links you need are there. But yeah, this is scary. But again, if you've been following UK politics for a while, especially to do with free speech, you know this has been happening. This has been in the works for a while, okay? And I want you guys to take this seriously, because it is serious, okay? I care so much about free speech, freedom of expression, especially when it comes to YouTube, because I've been on this channel, on this platform since I was literally, like, preteen, since I was 12. I love this so much, and I love my UK content creating baddies, right? Like, I love people like Evangelina, like Adam McIntyre. Obviously, they're both Irish, but they live in the UK. Well, actually, no, I think Vangelina still lives in Ireland, but obviously Adam's in the UK now, so this would affect him. Paige Christie. I'm trying to think of other people. Gavin, even. Because obviously he's in the northeast that we finally discovered at the end of that video. But, like, this is very, very serious because this affects everybody. Everybody, and especially small content creators who are just trying to get through that algorithm. This affects you. This does really affect you. So, yeah, share this video. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. And, yeah, let's have a good old discussion because the more we speak out about this, the more we can fight it. Is it guaranteed that we're going to successfully fight this? No. But the more we talk about it and we don't stop talking about it, the more powerful we become. Because all what we live for is snarking on the UK government, especially when they're doing stuff like this. So again, leave your thoughts in the comments. Spam your favourite creators with this video. Make sure that they're submitting the feedback. I know I'm going to submit my feedback as well after this video. And yeah, link in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe this video. Share it. And like this video, subscribe to my channel. Sorry, I'm just so passionate about this. I'm not getting my words out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Fuck the UK government and Ofcom. Jesus. And UK legacy media as well. Anyway, see you guys in the next one.